Welcome to the Fusionary Health Podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, Jack from Essentia Mattresses. And for me, this has been a very special episode because I've known you for quite a while now. And it's been so wonderful to get to know you and to have the opportunity to understand what you do, why you do it, the background behind it, really the ethos behind what you've created. And sleep is one of my favorite topics. So let's go ahead and dive in. Welcome.
Thank you, Shivani. You know what's amazing is if anyone's watching this instead of just listening to it, I've got a big smile on my face. Why? It's because obviously we've seen each other just a few months ago, but we just caught up in 10 minutes.
Yes.
So this is not a start. You know, everyone missed out on our catch up. So I've got a big smile on my face. Always nice seeing you. So thanks for having me. This will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. So for those of you who don't know Essentia Mattresses, it is the top of the line mattress that you can own in your life. It is the Rolls Royce of mattresses. And I've seen it. I've experienced it. I know many people who have one. I met you years ago when you were talking about Essentia Mattresses for doctors' offices, for the spine surgeons, the ortho surgeons, for them to recommend to their patients who come in with chronic pain and issues. So will you share the background of why you created it? Because I think that's so much a part of our health, our sleep, and we'll dive into sleep in a bit.
Thank you for the intro. I mean, and I think it's interesting because we have a little bit of that internal at Essentia, that struggle. Are we the Rolls Royce? Yes, we are, but not just for luxury, for health, for wellness.
Sure.
There's a true purpose why we build these things, why they're there, and why they are best for you. This dates back for me. I'm going on 23 years since I started just the development of the product. The company's going on 19 years right now.
Nice.
And I launched this when basically I had some people in my family, including my dad, who were undergoing cancer. And you know, part of the things, we all have this pivot in our life, why we turn to wellness. I've always been an entrepreneur, had a great business pre-Essentia. And I was no longer driven just to have a business. You know, I love the marketing aspect. I love the product development, but there was something that at that point that I needed purpose. Yeah. And one of the things we were realizing is he had to clean up his sleep environment.
Sure.
He was very sensitized to toxins, to dust, micro dust in the area. So it became a little bit of a challenge trying to get a sleep environment that allowed him to sleep comfortably.
Sure.
And as you know, my family had a background in latex, so we understood the latex foam aspect. That was my dad's business, you know. So this goes back, you know, to a generation of talking about this at a dinner table before I even thought about developing the next level of latex. And basically 3.5 years of working towards developing latex formulas that not only were clean for your environment as being not toxic, organic, but also had properties for physical wellness.
Sure.
You know, this has been a learning process. I developed the product in 2005, and you know, I just had the cleanest product at that point.
Sure.
With pressure distribution. As I start to understand sleep a whole lot more, by 2009, patented cores that really extended deep sleep, REM sleep.
Nice.
And, you know, by 2012 is when, you know, the journey of the company started with cancer patients.
Right.
That was our primary customer.
Yeah.
And all from word of mouth. It was working for one, then the other, then the others. This was, you know, we had no, you know, we had
social
a website, media. We had no social media.
Yeah.
We didn't have the advertising budget. So you weren't finding us in magazines or TV, right? It was all word of mouth because those people who are in their weakened stage really get a sense of what's wrong with their body. That was, you know, based in Montreal as a factory, and we are shipping with zero advertising, zero stores to California, New York, Toronto, BC. So all over the place, just from reputation, word of mouth.
Wow.
Then it went to people who were in remission,
to
people that prevention, then to organic lifestyle. And by 2012, we started in pro athletes, because by extending REM and deep, not only are you recovering if you're sick, but you're also thriving if you want to be a high performer.
Sure.
And that's kind of what, while today it's a full spectrum. We have everyone, and we cater to all. There's a lot of pride that comes into the pro athletes, celebrities, and everyone who's using us for peak performance.
Sure. That's, thank you for sharing that. So when I heard that story about cancer, I thought, wow, so many people learn that they have so many different allergens. They have things that are irritating to their bodies. And then there's so many people who don't even realize that. So many people don't understand that our physical environment, our home, is deeply impacting our health, especially when we're sleeping, what we're breathing in, what we're sleeping on. So how did you go about creating this cleaner product, organic product, and then all of a sudden you're improving people's sleep quality? Like, can you dive into that a little bit? Because that's a powerful evolution, and so many of us want our children on cleaner mattresses. We know we need it. We know that it's part of disease prevention. And then now to have pro athletes sleeping on it to get better sleep by 20%, you said sometimes, that's huge.
Yeah, we had a double-blind study just last year.
Awesome.
75 pro athletes. And this was just because over the last couple of years, as I've mentioned to you off the show, is that we're always doing labs, R&D, development. Even though no one's caught up to my 2006 formula, I'm still pushing ahead. I'm trying to beat our own, our own records, right?
Which is how it should be, right? If you're product obsessed and product focused, like I just had this conversation with my supplier. I said, look, I already know I make the best turmeric. I want to make the next one. I want to make turmeric gold elite. And he's like, why? You already made the best. I was like, no, there's always better.
Exactly.
We can always improve how people's bodies are doing, their pain, their inflammation, all of it.
Absolutely. And so right now, especially with working with pro athletes, I get to have immediate feedback.
Sure.
They know. They're
so dialed in.
They're dialed into their bodies.
Yeah.
And
they have metrics.
And talking to the athletes, I know that some of the things are that I have never been able to get them to shift away from is their electronics, their phones and all that. So 5 years ago, we started working with how can we impact the scalar energy, have low-level frequencies in our beds that can impact your bloodstream. And everything we do is evidence-based because I work with institutional customers, consumers, informed consumers. So we're not just hype, and it has to be proven. And in fact, when we changed our formulas and we released them in our products, it's just been about a year and a half since we launched our quartz latex. And
I saw that at the biohacking conference, and I was like, I want one of these. Quartz in your bed.
In the latex itself. It's part of the formula. And what was interesting when we did that is, we now it's time to do another study. That's where I brought in the athletes, and we were able to do a 10-week study evaluating their REM sleep and their deep sleep, because my goal is always to increase REM sleep and deep sleep. Those are the two key cycles of sleep that affect brain health and physical health. And we had results ranging from 20% to 60% increase, which is insane.
That is insane. I want that result. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
And since then we have, because everyone has devices right now. Everyone can track their sleep.
Yes.
And we've been, since we launched the product a year ago, we've been getting the same from our biohacking community. I've been measuring my sleep, and boom, I'm up there at 50%. I'm up there at 30%. So it's been through the charts. Everyone has been improving their sleep with our new formula, and we were already at a good place. So we just beat ourselves.
Nice. And that's always the goal, right? And I can't even imagine what that means. Like I know you've mentioned to me some of your athletes, and you're not going to mention them here, but to be a top, like 0.01% in your athletic performance life, and then to take your sleep up just a couple more notches makes you like 100 miles ahead of all the other athletes. Like, it's incredible. I can't even imagine if I was a pro athlete, what that would do for my performance and how that would feel.
It's you mentioned about, I don't like the name drop.
Yeah.
Because I think, we get into someone's health and in their bedroom, right? So
true.
So
it's
so
private.
It's something that I feel is private.
Yeah.
But what it's personally satisfied over the years, I'll watch sports games right now.
Yeah.
With I'm a hockey fan.
Sure.
over 30% of these players sleep on Essentia.
Nice.
So I even have trouble choosing for a team.
Yeah.
Because it'll be Essentia customer against Essentia customer,
Sure.
right? So I'll have spoken to players in Chicago, New York, the Florida teams.
Sure.
So I always find a lot of fun. And in recent years, we've hit so many celebrities.
Yeah.
We're in these A-list celebrities and watching movies. Oh, that's an Essentia customer. That's an Essentia customer.
That's
so it's so cool.
That's a cool feeling. That's really cool. I love that. So will you dive a little more into quartz and why you chose that? Because you could have picked any new ingredient to add in there. And anyone who's more of the spiritual mindset or into the power of crystals, the power of grounding, earth energy, all those things, like what a unique thing to pick to move forward with.
So what we're achieving is not traditional grounding.
Sure.
So traditional grounding is channeling.
Okay.
So the energies that are around, whether it be from electronic devices,
Sure.
To all energy flows, when you're grounding, you're giving it an exit.
Sure. True.
But what it's, the way we discovered that we can have informed quartz have as a benefit, quartz stores energy. So everything in this world emits an energy.
Sure.
So what we do with the quartz is we make sure that the low level frequency that it's emitting is something that is relatable to our organic body functions and not interfere with it. Through dark field microscopy, we're able to see how blood cell behavior is during transmissions, downloads, streaming with phones and all that. And what happens is your blood cells behave erratic. They cluster together and they prevent some oxygen from flowing as freely. So we're not trying to say what the results of that is, what the impact is, because I don't know.
We all know phones aren't great for us.
Yeah, but all I know is that when we had this low level frequency, the result is your cells no longer are behaving erratically.
Nice. You're mitigating the effects of your cell phone usage on your body.
Exactly. And that was key for our athletes because, and it's key to everyone. No one wants to go back in time to before technology.
No.
We want to move forward with technology, but without the negative impacts on our body.
For
so
sure.
that's where we realized that the quartz was the best mineral to store these low-level frequencies.
Awesome.
And by putting it into our mattresses, we're actually protecting about a 10 by 10 room. So that room becomes sheltered where you can still use your devices. The frequencies come in, but they are not in an erratic behavior. They follow our natural organic waves of our bodies, so it's not interfering with our blood cell behavior.
So when you're saying 10 by 10, you're saying within the 10 by 10 space of your own mattress space, you're not as impacted by your own Wi-Fi signals.
Correct.
And the cell phone signals.
Exactly.
Interesting. Because in my home, I did put a Wi-Fi router upstairs. And every day I'm like, I should have I should set it to shut off at a certain point, but who's to say at what point everyone's really going to stop using the internet? Maybe 12 or 1. But that's EMF pollution. That's pollution in our home when it comes to all these things. Then the cell phone. I tell everyone, please put your cell phone charging 10 feet away from you. People should realize how it impacts your sleep. Like I know a lot of people sleep with it next to their head on their nightstand.
Yep.
I'm like, you would actually notice a difference in your sleep quality if you move that thing into the bathroom or the closet nearby.
Exactly. Keeping it far away. And then the light, the sounds, and all those that are stimulants.
Sure.
Lights, sounds. Our sleep environment is so important.
Absolutely.
Our focus is on the mattress, which is in a bedroom environment. The mattress, in most cases, is the most toxic piece of furniture in there.
Absolutely.
Because it has the highest density of synthetic foams and all that. Sure. Obviously, that's what we don't do. We make a certified organic product.
Sure.
But, so aside from, I'd say number one, toxins being the worst thing you can have in your sleep environment.
Sure.
Followed by heat is another problem.
Right.
Followed by allergens.
Right.
And then you have lights and sounds. Those are so key in that environment in trying to extend those REM and deep sleep cycles.
Absolutely. I teach so much on sleep. I teach about from Ayurveda, circadian rhythm. Let's, fall into or build a rhythm in our lives around sleep. Let's sleep 10 to 2. The sleep environment's first, though, because I can teach you all the things in the world, but if the sleep environment itself is going to constantly irritate, you'll never win. And you mentioned heat. So a lot of people are buying cooling mattresses and cooling toppers to their mattress and all these things. So have you built that into the mattress?
So absolutely. But here's the issue. most cooling, either what's most popular right now is cooling textiles and cooling mattresses, cooling toppers.
Sure.
Problem is that they consist of chemical additives that have been added on. They're phase changing chemicals. So when it comes in contact with heat, a reaction happens and a cold sensation comes from it.
Okay.
It's temporary. And so it forces you to have to change. If you want to feel that cool vibe again,
you have to move.
You have to move.
That's
Change
bad.
position. Change position is not what you want to do in bed.
Of course.
Other than the natural movements you get from dreams.
Sure.
But then number two is it's another toxic load.
Sure.
So you're adding more chemicals. So that's the most popular. It's the least expensive way of cooling, but it's the one that adds the toxic load to your sleep environment, which is the number one thing to eliminate.
Sure.
Also, the other thing is the movement, as I mentioned. But thirdly, we've done a lot of testing on this. It's not just room temperature.
Okay.
It's not just that immediate sensation. It's your body temperature has to be in constant decline for that targeted 8 hours, 7 or 8 hours of sleep time. So it means from the temperature, the body temperature from when you go to bed has to be dropping slowly and consistently to stay in deep sleep cycles. So,
my whole face is like, what are you freaking talking about? That's an interesting thing to try to control.
Well, that's what we have done. That's what we've achieved.
Okay.
And so what happens is the organic nature of our product, the cell structure of our latex, and it's very special latex. It's our essential oil-based latex has a constant
cooling
airflow
effect.
Exactly. What it's really doing, and it changes for every individual because everyone has different body heat, and we all emit different heat. So, and whether you're right after training or not, so if you've taken a warm bath, but what this mattress allows you to do is allows your body heat to expel itself. And it's constantly doing that. It's not trapping it at the surface.
Sure.
And by doing that, your body at its own pace is constantly dropping in temperature.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we have two technologies, one that averages 5 degrees over an 8-hour time lapse and one at 9 degrees. And it's huge. These are, part of the building blocks of how we're achieving higher REM
sleep
and higher deep sleep.
Why? How would someone pick between the two? Is it
Budget.
like okay? So one's like a premium product.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's
more of the
one
technology.
of the things that I'm proud of is when I started this, I was only making one product, which was the ultimate product, right?
Sure.
And as I would continue to improve on formula, I would discontinue the old and just keep going with the new. And about 10 years ago, one consumer called me because obviously as I keep improving these costs of what we're putting in there, goes up.
Yeah.
These are really heavy, dense mattresses.
Sure.
They're probably 2 to 3 times heavier than a regular mattress.
Wow.
So there's a lot of product in there that makes it what it is.
Sure.
But one customer had personally called me and said, we bought that mattress. We love that mattress. Your new technology seems great. That's in our budget.
Right.
They wanted to buy a second one. That's kind of when it hit me. Well, I don't have to abandon sometimes the previous. So we actually have 3 categories.
Awesome.
And they're both top of there's nothing better than our entry level on the market.
Right.
And we've just beat ourselves 2 levels up.
Yeah, no, I get that. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
You can constantly improve on a product if you're obsessed with the product.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? Yeah, and it's so interesting, this idea of cooling consistently. My brain likes to chew on ideas, so you just given me something that I'm going to chew on for like a week. But if the body is meant to consistently drop in temperature as we sleep, we have some options. One, you could set the thermostat to do that. You could have some programming to help you. I have like an upstairs AC unit where I could do that. 2, obviously invest in the mattress. 3, do you have a preference on sheets? Like, do you have certain sheets that you recommend?
Absolutely. Well, to me, obviously, everything has to be organic.
Sure.
So you don't want to have any of the synthetics around there. And the organic products are going to be more breathable. So you're going to go with, I like simple cotton.
Okay.
Simple certified organic cotton.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't dive into so much.
Sure.
But when I do, it's kind of interesting because anything
you get into.
I'm pretty proud of the fact that whenever I get into something, I manage to make it better.
Yeah.
So we've had.
Have you made sheets?
We have. We had certified organic sheets for years. And I don't know what came over me, but last year I started looking at how they're made, how
Sure.
they're built, and most of them are weaved. And I said, you know what? Why aren't these knitted? And so
Right.
I started, with our knitting suppliers, is can you make a micro knit? So,
Sure.
and so now today we're launching
Nice.
these certified organic performance sheets.
Awesome.
Stretch and soft and
Nice.
breathable and really cool. We've actually been selling them only to athletes. We just haven't put it on our website yet.
Sure. Sure.
Our athletes love it.
But it's like it's a good follow-up question, right? So I'm obsessed with sleep. If I don't sleep well, you don't want to know me. I have the Aura ring. I buy every sleep device because I want to just know how I feel about it. I bought the Whoop one once, the watch and the things. I even Fitbit. So like I always tell my clients, track your sleep. Then tell me how your sleep is. I'm sick of everyone saying my sleep is fine. We assume that because we fall asleep, our sleep is fine. But I think if you measured your sleep, you would finally understand that there's a lot of ranges of our quality of sleep. And then on top of that, there's so many things we can do. It's funny, my sister and I are both obsessed with sleep. And so she'll be like, Shivani, I got the chili pad. I'm like, good job, Neha. Let me know how it goes. And I'll be like, Neha, I tried this other supplement for sleep. It was phenomenal. So we're constantly playing with what tools we can have on hand that are like optional. Like I keep a lot of around me that I could use when I need them. Like I had a lot go on in the last 2 weeks, so now I'm leaning into a very strong sleep supplement because it's the only way I'm guaranteeing myself good sleep until I can get myself on my sleep cycle to naturally hold the sleep. But temperature, the quality of the sheets we use, don't have printers and computers and too many things in your room. At the end of the day, I make sure if my laptop got into my bedroom, I'm getting it out of there. I don't want those things in there. No stressors. I don't even have curtains in my bedroom because I don't want an opportunity for dust to collect. As much as aesthetically I want certain things, I still value quality of sleep over that. And so when it comes to what you're saying, of course it makes sense. It's funny, I used to own an organic cotton children's clothing company.
Oh, really?
A long time ago. And so my suppliers, I worked with like these huge suppliers out of Coimbatore, India, who are the producers of organic cotton. And you're right. My biggest problem with it was the quality. I said, I'm going to build a organic cotton company just to prove that we can have luxuriously soft organic cotton.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, so it's cool that you got into it, and it's cool that you're looking at it from that perspective of let's solve more of the problems around sleep.
Exactly, and we're trying to just when you talk about tracking sleep. Also, one of the things I tell you is that specifically with athletes, high performers,
Sure,
they tend to obsess over everything. So I always suggest try to take your average of 10 days.
Sure.
Don't obsess over the one day.
Yeah.
Because things will happen. Bad day.
Sure.
Bad eating day, bad stress day.
Yeah.
Whatever may have happened, that one day may be the exception.
Sure.
But focusing on, over a 10-day cycle, is your sleep improving? Is it stable? Is it declining?
Right.
That's what you look at rather than the daily number.
Yeah. If you, it's funny if you watch your sleep data, very clearly wine, late dinner. I mean, there's some really loud ones that are very clearly culprits when it comes to destroying your sleep. So you get pretty clear on it. And then you laugh when you see your sleep score the next day. You're like, I knew going out for dinner and having 2 glasses of wine was going to do that. Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So you can't worry about it. Those are choices we make to enjoy our life.
Exactly. Yes.
But when you got that sleep data from those performance athletes out there, and you knew that, I know that you know that certain you have groups that are buying the mattresses for their athletes. Certain agents are like, I need all my athletes on your mattress. That's something we've shared in the past. Were you beyond excited to get that sleep data afterwards and see the sleep scores go from here to here?
Well, what was really interesting was at the biohacking conference, I brought in a trainer for one of the professional teams to present the data that we had on this, a double-blind sleep study. And one of the things he says is, but I had great results from your old technology.
Sure.
So he had tracked his sleep on Essentia, and we had on him we had about a 40% improvement back in 2012.
Wow.
Based on what he was using prior. So he knew that we were already, and at the time of the conference, he only purchased our new technology. It was only about a month.
Sure.
And he hadn't tracked it because I already knew that Essentia,
was
from when
great.
he started in 2012, had that increase And we just stepped above that. So I would obviously, to me, if we keep improving 10% at a time, huge for me.
Sure.
But these athletes have already known for years that we are the right choice for them, for what they're looking to achieve as far as wellness and performance.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have a reaction from not within the company saying that's what we expected.
Yeah, that is cool. It's cool when that's what people expect from you.
Exactly.
Right? When your reputation is one of always being obsessed with that quality.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier. Is kind of fortunate that we have people looking, observing, using us because our focus is on our product and our quality.
Yeah.
And fortunately, it's being heard out there rather than just within our four walls. So our work is being appreciated.
Yeah.
It's getting communicated a lot of times through friends and colleagues and word of mouth. We still are as well as we do in our world. We're still vapor in the whole market. You won't see TV commercials on Essentia.
No.
But in the wellness world, we're quite known and doing well. Fortunately, again, without all the marketing branches.
It's true. A lot of people walk in with huge markets and budgets and all those things. A question I have for you is you've probably watched the biohacking sector birth in the last decade or two. Like I think from what I saw, I went to Dave Asprey's biohacking conference last year. I went this year. So many people who were there were like, we were into longevity before. We were into anti-aging before. Now we call it biohacking.
Correct, yes.
And I thought that was funny. I was like, like I see biohacking as so new. It's not. It's a continuation of this, not determination, but this desire for us as humans to consistently be well for as long as we're here. And I think we all know we're only on this planet for so long. And as long as we are here, I know my personal goal is to be as healthy as I can because I've seen my family history, which is horrible. My whole family is diabetic. Heart disease is like the end with a lot of horrible things like amputations and stuff. So I saw as a child what could happen past 60 in my households, and I thought it's going to be my job to stop that one way or another. And then I learned about inflammation, stress, the impacts of sugar on the body. That's why I do what I do and I teach what I teach. And then after working so long with people, giving them turmeric for their joint pain and their inflammation, I realized that if you don't sleep well at night, you're not going to clear your inflammation. So you have to invest in good sleep or you just won't win. Like I can only win so far with my turmeric. Then I have to fix their sleep or else.
Yep.
And so can you kind of share with our audience today some of your tips, some of the things you've learned over time around sleep? You speak on sleep nationally. You're speaking at the biohacking conferences. You're surrounded by people, I'm sure, who are so data-driven in their sleep. So just some like take-home things that they can use.
Well, first of all, to reiterate what you're talking about with wellness and longevity, and I mean, here more than ever, North America, everything is geared for us not to do well.
Absolutely correct.
Foods, the big business around us is intoxicating us with chemicals in our food, in our environments, and it's unfortunate. And more than anywhere else, you're not going to find this anywhere else in the world as far as GMOs and everything that's hidden in everything we do. So we really I think that's why biohacking movement is growing. People are realizing that we're paying the price for this, and we all pay for the price, like you said, over 60, and you see it. It's chronic all over the place, right? And biohacking is a term that some people are not familiar with,
right?
And they think that they're hacking something. Right. They think that they're cheating something, and it's far from that. It's not cheating. No. It's empowering. It's strengthening. It's making that wellness be the predominant path that we're taking. So we're not hacking.
Yeah, it's so true.
Maybe we're hacking our North American pressures, the pressures that are working against it, but this traditionally shouldn't be considered hacking.
Sure. No, it's funny. I have like an email I write when I'm pitching to podcasts to be interviewed on podcasts, which I love doing. And in there, I have one of my topics, biohacking with Ayurveda, and I had to take it off. Because a lot of people are like, we are not interested in interviewing you. We are not into biohacking.
We don't cheat.
And
we
I'm
don't
like,
bypass the system.
If you understood what Ayurveda meant, you would understand. I'm giving you like the slow roll way to health, but I'm not cheating like biohacking to me means the choices we make to make our bodies as optimal as possible using the resources and tools that we have. Like I wish I had $100,000 budget to build this like wellness room with a lot of cool tools. And what would I do? I would try them and see which ones worked for me. I don't know which ones work for me until I try them and experience them and give them a month or two. But there's so much science in biohacking
and
to
it's
just
interesting.
benefit.
That kind of supports what people in the biohacking world often say, that the patient will be our future doctors.
Sure.
Because we are all different, and not everything will allow you to thrive as well as someone else. So you need to look at all these modalities. You need to try them out and see what works well for you and what makes you thrive.
True.
One thing I do know is that sleep is the foundation for everyone.
Exactly.
Or else biohacking would be popping a pill, staying awake 24 hours and being productive. But you can't be productive unless we're getting, that 1.5 to 2 hours of REM sleep, 1.5 to 2 hours of deep sleep, which means that we have if we do our job well, we have 3 to 4 critical hours where you really recover. And some people need 5.5 hours to achieve it. Like Dave.
Yeah.
Dave Asprey seems to be able to uses our product. He manages to get that level of REM and deep within 5.5 hours. Wow. Have most pro athletes that are at 6.5. Some are at 7. Some people need go all the way to 8.
Yeah.
Now, you shouldn't need more than that because that leads to other issues. And if you're taking that long to achieve it, there's many things wrong with your sleep environment.
Sure.
But basically, that's the thing I would say is the tips is to be very conscious of your sleep environment.
Absolutely.
And with everything you bring in it is something that you're going to absorb throughout your sleep.
So how do you control that in your own sleep environment? Do you have like no alarm clock, no computers, no TV, no printers, no...
I have an Essentia mattress, which is the barrier to all of it.
obviously.
In fact, we have a lot of it because I talk about it, I believe in it.
Sure.
And so, but one of the only things that is not to my, so we take care of noise.
Yeah.
We take care of, some of the external lights. We manage our sounds. We make sure we have all organic products in our bedroom.
Nice.
We have the Essentia mattress, which is managing our cooling.
Sure.
We have organic sheets, blankets. So we have all of those tools already in play. However, I do have a compromise with because I don't live alone in my bedroom.
Yeah, your wife.
Exactly, yeah. And you can probably you're probably in charge of the home.
Yes,
I'm not in charge of my home.
Got it.
It's my wife.
Got it.
And so that's where we have differences, and it comes to us. It comes with lighting.
Okay.
So whereas I would like to eliminate lighting, pitch dark.
Absolutely.
That's not what.
Does she want a night light?
She wants a night light, and it's not specifically a indirect light.
Sure.
So, I'll notice that, if the lighting is not to her liking, she'll make that adjustment while, I'm already in bed, and I've just accepted it. You're not going to win those battles as a husband, at least.
My mom likes night lights, and I just traveled with her, and I was like, why? How can you leave a crack of light open? This is so disruptive to sleep. Like, what's happening? It's funny. We get very attached.
I think it becomes an attachment. I can remember goes a while back, and I tried to make a point of it. I had traveled to Paris with my wife, and we would be out late.
Yeah.
But we had blackout shades.
Sure.
The room was pitch black.
Right.
We had perfect sleep. We went through our 7-8 hours. So we'd wake up at noon.
Yeah.
But who cares? We're on vacation, right?
Sure.
But I go, see how lighting matters? Because she would never wake up at noon ever at home because the way she structures the light access to our room.
Sure.
She'll always be awake at 6 a.m., which I think is what she wants, right? So.
Right. Yeah, no, it's funny. I got blackout shades. It helps a ton. I think the noise thing is a big deal. A lot of times people come to me with sleep issues, and I'm really just a detective trying to help you understand what's happening. Sometimes it's people's sprinkler systems. I noticed that because I have kids, and I was like, why does the kid wake up exactly at 5 a.m.? Oh, the sprinklers go off at 5 a.m. and the crib is near the window and they hear the sound of water. How funny is that? Exactly, we're animals. Like, we think that we're just so sophisticated. We're not affected by the outside environment. We're completely affected.
Absolutely.
I've told people, like, when someone said, my mother-in-law is visiting and now my kid wakes up at 5 a.m. every day, or 4 or 3. I'm like, check if the toilet's being flushed upstairs. That's a sound. Every sound can be mitigated in your life, even when the ACs turn on and off. We have a lot more control over home design and home schedules. I have an app to control my sprinklers. People have apps to control their ACs. So you can change how these things function to really optimize your sleep. And what you're talking about is a sleep technology.
If you go back to the most primitive sleep environments, you'd basically have a wooden spike that goes into the sand where people would apply their neck to have neck support. And allow their head to lean back, and the rest of their bodies would be on the sand. What does sand do? Sand does not trap heat. It allows heat to flow through. So at the nighttime, what happens? You're in the dark, so you have that natural circadian balance, which is happening through the natural light of overnight. You'd have the temperature is always dropping and escaping, and only starts to warm up in the morning. So all these natural elements is what you're trying to recreate in the bedroom.
Sure. Isn't that funny?
We've evolved from the wooden spike in the sand, though.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say, do you have a pillow recommendation, Jack? I woke up today with my neck locked, and I was like, I still haven't made the effort to fix my pillow game. I got to fix this stuff and get, everything back to optimal. I think we all have seasons where we focus on these things. So now I'm in that mood of like, what else do I need to optimize to feel amazing?
Pillows are interesting. They're very, I like to say they're personal and everyone's different, but one thing that's in common is there's a certain structure that you're looking to do. You're looking to support the neck and allow your head to pivot back a little. Right. And most people are on a pillow and their head is pushing up on their cranium.
True.
And so selecting the right pillow or adjusting their pillow, because a lot of them are loose fill, to making sure that it gets under your neck for support and allows your head to pivot back. That avoids some of the snoring and the sleep apnea and the soreness that can develop over a neck being pushed forward.
Sure. Yeah, and most of us don't have that. Even I don't.
Yep.
So when you decided to focus on doctors for the mattress, what were the kinds of results you were seeing? Like, I know from way back when, did you focus on doctors because you saw that the pain point of people walking into their spine surgeon and orthopedic surgeon offices was these kinds of issues? Like, doc, I have neck pain. And really the mattress could have fixed it?
Well, the reason I turned to doctors and therapists was the number one reason was I just didn't want to be part of the industry. So when I was developing it, the first challenges I had was when I would hire chemists to say, I want to eliminate the chemicals that are in the mattress, and chemists love chemicals. They love how they react. They love how they're stable and consistent and predictable.
Sure.
So they don't like anything organic because that's unpredictable and sometimes unstable. A lot more work. So my first obstacles were those. When I developed the product and wanted to launch Essentia, I brought in people from the industry.
Okay.
There's buyers, sellers, sales reps. So from the industry across the nation, and I'd bring them in every 6 weeks, and I'd see that their only feedback was all marketing, good, better, best. If you want me to, when good is only price, and they would want me to make something inferior to upsell, and that was not the game I was playing.
Yeah.
Then I started working with therapists, and then seeing their feedback. Their feedback was genuine on wellness and recovery. When I was working with post-operation for surgeries, I was appreciating the challenges that people were having and trying to recover in pain management and all that. So I've always enjoyed playing in the medical world, just because it's with all, there's, these days everyone is negative about everything. But on the most part, on the medical community, there's a lot less BS.
Yeah, they just want to help the patient.
Exactly, yes.
With whatever tool makes sense, with whatever tool they're given.
Exactly.
And
so that's where I was absorbing like a sponge.
Sure.
And that helped me both in my product development
Sure.
and in offering a product and addressing the needs of patients post-recovery.
Sure.
Post-surgery.
Surgery. You were already dealing with cancer patients and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's always been a close connection
Got it.
at Essentia with that community.
Got it.
For a while, yes, we were doing outreach and talking to, and we do have many practitioners that send patients our way.
Sure. And I know we could talk about sleep and mattresses all day. I have one last question. Will you dive into the allergen toxin aspect a little bit? Because I think, years ago I wrote a book called The Conscious Pregnancy. And I wrote that book because when I studied Ayurveda and when I was having my kids, I felt like no one had written a book on Ayurvedic pregnancy and all the ways how we treat ourselves in pregnancy results in our health later and certainly the child's health. And so during that time frame, after that time frame, actually, so many women came to me with all their kids' health issues. All sorts of friends and people would come around and say, hey, I know you're the mom who's all about the non-toxic stuff. You obsessed about everything being organic for your kids, and you had an organic cotton children's clothing line at the time. What do you recommend? And the first thing I would say, because it was always eczema, autism, allergies, ADHD, all the A's, I used to call it the 5 A's that everyone was dealing with. I would say first thing, what is the environment? What are they sleeping on? Is there curtains? Is there carpet? Like what's the toxic burden on the child in the home? Okay, now let's go to food. How is your food stored? How are you preparing it? So a lot of those things that I know about, I've done for years. And it's funny, I had a lot of people in my home in the last 2 weeks, and they all used my microwave. And I just looked at them like, what are you doing? I don't use that
Those
thing.
An appliance that is standard part of a kitchen that you don't use.
It should be storage in my home. I know I leave it open out of kindness for like emergencies for people, but I don't think we should use it. Mm-hmm. So can you just educate us on that and then we'll wrap up?
So toxins, and the reason why it's so important to me and it's such a priority is in our observation, what we see is that the toxic burden accelerates your central nervous system. Sure. And it's sort of like, you ever take maybe you've never done it, but a lot of people have taken sleeping pills.
Sure.
Different narcotics to try to knock themselves out.
I've taken Xanax. It was very effective post-op.
So that's the reason for these medications is really post-traumatic surgeries.
Correct.
Because you want to be unconscious.
Right.
During that critical part of your recovery.
Sure.
But then you got to get back to your normal recovery.
Correct.
Because what ends up happening is toxins, just like these pills, they keep you in an unconscious state, but they don't keep you in deep REM and deep sleep cycles.
Sure.
So that's what toxins are doing. Toxins are accelerating your central nervous system and keeping you in an unconscious sleep, but not as long into your deep cycles.
Got it.
So that's what's so critical about it is because having this toxic burden in your bedroom doesn't allow you to get the full benefits of sleep as you should.
Got it.
And that's what people are not
understanding
because they can't see it.
Yeah.
If they saw green smoke hanging around the room, they'd figure it out.
Sure.
Oh, green smoke, I didn't sleep as well. No green smoke, I'm sleeping better. But
right.
Those vapors are there.
You don't see the VOC off-gassing and
Correct.
things that happen from the paint and the things we buy. When my kids were babies, I put everything outside. I was like, nothing will be in that baby's room until it's off-gassed for a few days.
And every other thing, just like allergens, has, I call them stimulants that interrupt our sleep.
Sure.
And, toxins, number one, allergens, does the same thing. Most people only react to allergens when they have a side effect, a rash, respiratory issues, something that has triggered an elevated state of reaction from your body.
Sure.
But those same allergens, just because your body has unconsciously tolerated it, doesn't mean that it has benefited you fighting these allergens during your sleep. Correct. So everything you have to stop fighting. Our brains are very active recovering at night. But so don't distract them with toxins and allergens. Let them do their jobs of cell renewal and everything that it needs to do for brain health and body health.
Nice. That's amazing. Thank you. No, it's a profound statement. If you looked at allergens as stimulants, you would treat your whole home differently. If you understood that everything in the bedroom environment even the toxins in your carpet, your curtains, your furniture, everything, and your mattress were stimulating you and thus sleep disruptors, you would take a different approach to what you put in your room.
Correct.
Wow. Thank you for ending us on that today.
Thank you, Shivani.
That was awesome. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you for coming. Will you share where people can find you?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Important to do when we've talked so much about sleep and mattresses today.
Myessentia.com. myessentia.com.
Perfect.
You know what's really cool about it? There's a lot of content there.
Awesome.
So you don't have to be buying a mattress or a pillow. Just go there to learn, because learning is the first step. We have a lot of articles, a lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews, a lot of studies that we've done. So there's a wealth of information that can help everyone.
Awesome. For the nerds like me who love to learn. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for coming today. I appreciate it. I deeply admire your work. I admire you as a product developer, as a colleague. You know, every time I see you at a conference, I'm like, yes, my friend Jack is here. It feels like home base when I get to see you. I'm like, it's my friend in this big world where we're trying to just change one life at a time.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Likewise, the feeling is mutual. You know it. You see it in my smile every time I see you.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me for this episode. Check out our sponsor, Fusionary Formulas, the potent turmeric supplement used by doctors around the U.S. for patients with pain and inflammation. www.fusionaryformulas.com. I'm your host, Dr. Shivani Gupta. For more, visit shivanigupta.com. Subscribe to this podcast in Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Click the follow button or subscribe in any of the apps that you use. That's all I've got for you on the Fusionary Health podcast this week. You have the power to transform your health and achieve vibrant health starting today.